Hi, this is Bruce Reed in the National Audubon Society's Mississippi River office in Vicksburg. And today, one day after Hurricane Gustav made landfall near Houma, Louisiana, I'm talking via internet phone with Dr. Paul Kemp, Director of Audubon's Gulf Coast Initiative and a geologist with extensive knowledge of hurricanes and coastal issues. Paul is online from Baton Rouge. Please excuse the connection. Paul, could you give us your assessment of Hurricane Gustav and its effects on New Orleans and coastal Louisiana, if you would, please?
Well, I think some of the worst effects are right here in Baton Rouge, where we had some 90-mile-an-hour winds that did more damage than anyone here remembers since Hurricane Betsy in 1965. It looks like the water in the MRGO funnel on the east side of New Orleans got as high or higher than it did during Betsy. The reports are that the levees and the flood walls held, but that the water was all the way up to the top on the flood walls in the industrial canal. So very close to a serious flooding event there, even though this was only a Category 2 storm when it came ashore.
So if we were kind of lucky this time that our defenses held, we may not be so lucky in the future. What do we need to do from this point forward to strengthen our hurricane defenses in Louisiana?
Well, I think we need to think about more than just levees and flood walls. What we're finding is that even with all the money in the world, we can't really defend ourselves completely with levees and flood walls. We can't do that if we allow the entire delta to deteriorate. And the thing we've done over the last 100 years is set up to that, cutting the wetlands off from the river and managing the river the way we are, so that all the sediment either gets trapped in dams on the Missouri or lost off the continental shelf. So we've done everything we can to destroy the flood defenses, the natural flood defenses, and obviously we haven't done enough on the to compensate with the artificial flood defense. So we've really got to do both. We've got to develop artificial flood defenses that can take some overtopping. In this case, I understand that there was some overtopping of flood walls, but because they put some overtopping protection on the backside, they didn't fail this time like they did in Katrina. These are relatively inexpensive fixes that made a lot of difference and would have made a lot of difference during Katrina. So there's a need for improvement on the artificial, the built side. There's also a need for a tremendous amount of effort to restart the natural processes that give rise to wetlands, and they keep them above sea level when we're dealing with the rising seas that we are today.
So in that vein, Paul, what is Audubon and what are we doing with our partners to work toward more wetland restoration and those natural defenses?
Well, I think one thing we realize is that the interest of the natural world and the birds and the wildlife and our own are very convergent. That if we provide for them, we're also providing for ourselves. And so reversing the processes of destruction that we set in motion, where we were, deliberately or inadvertently in some cases destroying all the adaptability of the coastal wetlands, reversing all that and getting it started with new sediment coming down the river, diversions, and rebuilding barrier islands. Those are things that can be done. That will make it possible for us to continue to live here in America's largest port.
And I know today, here on September 2nd, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency took a very important action to protect a large area of wetlands north of you here near Vicksburg. What was the significance of this veto of the Yazoo Pump project?
Well, I mentioned that getting the flood protection, the natural protection here for hurricanes right also means getting the management of the river, modernizing it so it doesn't waste all the sediment in the wrong place. The other thing is that if we see large floods like the one we had this year and the 93 flood upstream, we've got to give the river more places to spread out. So it's not the age-old argument of levees or outlets. It's levees and outlets. And that Yazoo Pump project was a project left over from the late 50s. A lot of our damaging projects along the river date from that period, and the time has come to come up with another paradigm, one that really works for everybody, not just a few.
Well, Paul, I appreciate your perspective, and I know you've got to get back to trying to restore power to your home and trying to hunker down there. We still have storm coming through, and I just appreciate you taking the time.